there again, Sam Medina from JakeTheEvilHair.com and Darkfell.com. Well, today we are working on some inking. In this case, we are inking Katarina the Dragonslayer for Darkfell, Return to Moonshadow. And the tools we'll be primarily using will be some Copic multiliners, the 0.05 and the 0.3, as well as a Pigma Micron 0.8. And for larger areas, we'll be using a Copic Chow black marker. Now, usually I'll start off with that 0.05 to start just getting in the line work. And there's a lot you can do with just a fine line. That line I'm actually using to suggest that the light is more intense on her forehead than it is off to the side here as it goes to the side of her head. Gives you the illusion of shadow without actually making shadow, which saves some time. Now for the parts of her face that are closer to the light, you want to go with the finer line and use your heavier lines away from the light in general. And when you're inking, you want to remember that you're not just tracing your lines. Sometimes you can make your lines a little smoother, or even to some extent change them. It's a little tricky to do this so that it actually shows up on camera. Pretty new to doing videos, so bear with me if my hand sometimes obscures what I'm doing. And with noses, you don't have to include a whole lot of detail. Sometimes we want to draw every single detail, and you can actually make it look pretty bad. Sometimes just a few very subtle lines and things will get the job done. Right there, I've pretty much suggested her nose without having to draw the entire contour. Now we'll work on her eyes. It's something that a lot of people do. I know I did it a lot early on. We have a tendency to try to draw every single eyelash, and really you can just make a heavier line that'll suggest the eyelashes, and in the end it'll look better, because sometimes those tiny little lines are not going to reproduce quite so well. Put in the early lines of her eyes, an early stage of the inking here. Alright, so now we're starting to get a little bit of detail here. And one mistake I did make is inking this part here earlier, and really you usually should work from left to right if you're right-handed. That way you don't have to be paranoid about getting your hand in the fresh ink. Sometimes I still work from right to left. I don't recommend it if you're a beginner to maybe intermediate. In a way, it can help you to keep your hand as much as you can off the paper, because the oils in your hands can get absorbed by the paper and will affect your image. I try to keep as much of my hand off as I can. Alright, now we're going to do her lips, and again, it's one of those situations where you don't really need a lot of line work to get the job done. Not that I'm an expert here or anything. But I've gotten a little better over the years. Great guy to study for features like that is someone like Jack Kirby. A lot of his old work, he could depict eyes and lips without a whole lot of lines, and yet get a great image. Okay, so we've got her face mostly lined in with the fine lines, and now we're going to do her war paint, as it were. One of the things her and Gladden have in common is that they both wear the war paint of the Darkfell clan, even though she's not of the Darkfell clan. The Darkfell clan is actually a clan of ogres. Gladden was raised by the Krog, as they call themselves, in the Darkfells, so he took on their clan name as a surname. Katarina does it, well, mostly because she met Gladden when she was 10 years old, and to some extent she still tries to emulate him. Okay, there's that. It's one of those areas where I will use some hatching or line work to represent things. If this were in color, I'd just color that in. Now we're going to do some of her hair over here. Just kind of start it with that. Then I move on to pick my micron. I use kind of just a flicking motion. Kind of overlap each stroke. And she's actually overlapping one of the upper panels. So I'll give her a stronger line up there. And strengthen this line here. And then we'll come back in a little bit and show you the finished product. Alright, here we go. This is our finished product here of Katarina the Dragonslayer. If this video has been helpful to you, I hope it has been, thumb it up, share it on your Facebook and Twitter, so on and so forth, and check us out at jaketheevilhair.com and darkfell.com.